Hello, I wanted to share with everyone what I'm doing for Foundations Geometry. And I have a spreadsheet that has down here 3 different sheets to it. And on the first sheet are the standards, and they're then put into the C first and then down to the A categories. I'm adding enduring learning and assessments that pop into my mind that I might want to use for students. This one is actually where well, I can't open it now, of course, but at any rate, for this one, it would have them to actually use the geometric shapes, segments, squares and triangles to build a popsicle stick tower, which they could then take a picture of and send in. So I'm kind of thinking of those kinds of assessments, as well as maybe the assessments in catch-up math, which could be used for the students, foundation students in math, geometry, or algebra even, really. So that's the first page, and I'm kind of working on it bit by bit. So I'm not doing the whole thing and then moving on to the next. I'm kind of building one part and then moving on to the next. So the second is a sheet where I'm now taking those standards and breaking them up into units, where again I'm putting basically the topics that I want to hit in the first group of standards. And I don't know if that would be a block or 2 blocks. I haven't made that determination yet. I guess whoever's building the blocks I would need to work with to determine that. But at any rate, I kind of am creating some lessons, finding them in LearnZillion. Another area that I'm finding them is it's DESMOS, and I found that online from the company that provides the calculators for end of course assessments. They have some really cool online math ideas, and I think that's what this one is, but that might be LearnZillion too. I don't remember. This is one I'm going to add in a Newsleah that talks about geometry shapes in every day, maybe, I don't know, and how they're used in design and other things. And then I'm really like, every time same as I put something in, this study.com site comes up, and they have some really nice videos. I haven't really looked at any of their assessments or activities, but the presentation videos look nice, but you have to have a subscription to that one, so those are just ideas. And then on sheet 3 are the units that I'm building in GeoGebra, which I can show you right now. GeoGebra is free. You have to learn to be proficient in it, which I am not yet, but I can do some things. For example, I plan on introducing some postulates to the foundation students, and this one is pretty easy. It's just the distance of AC plus the distance of CB is equal to the distance of AB. So I'm going to introduce that to them, and then give them some example problems, which I'll show you in a minute you can do with this program. And I guess that's kind of where I am right now. So, but at any rate, if you look, because I started using this to build a curriculum for geometry resource room, which I would still kind of like to see if I could fit in, but at any rate, I'd like to build activities that could be used. You can pull one for somebody at level C or somebody in the resource room, pull one for somebody at level A. I don't know, those are just some ideas that are kind of going around in my head. But you could see that these are some activities that I created, like this one I created what is congruence, and I'm kind of teaching the students to utilize strategies to determine if these two figures, polygons, are congruent, and it would kind of also reinforce that idea of congruence. But if you, well, polygon should not have been able to be moved, so I need to lock that. But at any rate, they can then map one over on top of each other and see that no, they're not congruent, and get an idea of what the word map means because they're doing it here. This is a nice program. I'm not really able to save without having these things showing, and that's kind of bad because if a student clicks on one of those, part of the what I want them to see is going to disappear. So, and I thought I had locked one. You know, I'm going to lock one of these and make it a little darker. There are tons of things that you could do to kind of customize these. So basically what I'm doing is I'm finding activities and I'm modifying them so that they are accessible to our foundation students. And this is what they would see, like, are these mirror images? Here's the question. And then I walk them through finding out the area, check my answer, and I put that in there. This is what the program allows you to create. Same thing with finding the perimeter. They would type their answer in and check. Now, I haven't figured out a way to then send this to the teacher. I've tried a number of different ways, and everything that's emailed comes up blank. So, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but those are some of the things that I'm working on as far as activities go. Now, if I go into, I have all these that I've made. These are all some of the activities that I've made. And I'm working on a book. Actually, I've got one started as well for the resource room. And I think I called that block 1. And let me see if I can find that one for, you can see I got a little obsessed with this, but it is fun. Well, let's look at, I hope I didn't delete it, but I guess I'll look at that some. But let's look at the book I've created for Foundations Geometry. So Foundations Geometry is, I'm thinking to build a new book for every block, so that there would be 15 activities in every book. So that would take the student on an activity a day. So for example, this is I call it segment play, and it says there are 4 segments. Well, you could probably read it yourself. Click on each box. So when I click on the boxes, the segments that I'm talking about are coming up. The student sees how to write the segments this way and how to name the segments. So they can do that with all of them. And then after they do that, then they can click on one of these and move this around. Of course, that doesn't move with it, but still, that gives them an idea to segments that they could be between any 2 points in space, which could be anywhere. Of course, we don't have 3-dimensional, although this does have a 3-dimensional or a 3D feature to it. So when we get into concepts like pyramids and cones, those are going to be easy to show. So that's kind of where I am. What I'd like to do, and I wish I could find that the book that I did for Resource Room, and I've downloaded it. You can download these as well, and they download into Brightspace. So triangle, angle exercise, geometry. Oh, here it is. This is the one I built for Resource Room, and you could see that on this. Here's an idea. This is a GeoGebra activity, and here's where the students are looking at the equations of lines. They see that by changing the y-intercept, how it changes the lines, by changing the slope, how it changes the lines. So that's a really easy activity to create. But I also have this Let me move this over so I can show you. Basics of geometry, transformations in the plane, and then the last one, or the third one, is going to be symmetry. And each of these has 5 activities, and the activities all have check your answers on them, and then there's a complete, these catch-up math lessons, and then I name the lessons, and then the teacher would then have to go in and assign those to the student for week 1. And then the teacher would need to go back after week 1 and check and make sure that the student has completed week 1 work, which I think, will be easier than looking at every single student and seeing where every single student is in every single class. If you just look at where the students are in the classes you're teaching and attend to those that aren't making progress immediately, I think that's going to help us with our identification of students who may need a mentor, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, that's where I am right now. I'm going to continue. I'm going to be out of the office for a couple days, but I'll be back Monday. I may take that day. I have half days planned to work now, but I may take that half day because I'm going to Florida, and I may be tired from the plane ride back and everything else. So I don't know yet, but I'll definitely be back Tuesday, which is, what is the date on Tuesday? 14th, I believe. So, any rate, I'll be working on this over my break as well. So please let me know if you have any questions. Bye bye.